Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action!
Well, if you're new here, guys, I'm Peter A. DeLuca. I'm your obsessive film freak, aka Pad, AKAPAD, another known as Peter Anthony DeLuca, but also known as the Film Buff. I called myself that. I titled myself the Film Buff because here's the amazing thing. You come at me with something. Hollywood history, international Hollywood history. What critics have said. You come to me with a movie, with an opinion, with a book, even an article. I will tell you about it. I have a photographic memory. The things I forget more things than you know. I love saying that phrase. And I'm channeling it for a podcast. And we've been at it for 1,000 episodes already. Let me toot my own horn. Boo, boo, boo! Over 1,000 episodes. Now, the previous episode on this podcast was setting up what tonight's subject is all about. Weekends. We do cartoons in the day, industry documentaries at night. And we have one of the great modern day film documentaries right here, right now. 2022. I cannot believe. I've tried to bring you this movie for 3 years, my AKA Patters. I've seen this movie 5, 6, maybe even 7 times. I watched it between Amazon Prime and Tubi. I believe I even own it on digital. Jurassic Punk is the story of Steve Williams, aka Spaz. I've been aware of this guy since my other friend, John, way back in the early days of this podcast. Him and I flirted with this girl that worked at a movie theater. We were there to see Spawn. I believe he was seeing it for the first time. I was seeing it for the second time. And she said at the end of the movie, past the credits, guys pull down their pants. And him and I just look at each other. And we're like, what? What are you talking about? So we do it. We watch Spawn. Now, this guy's involved with the special effects of Spawn. His friend, Steve Dippy, I'm butchering his last name. He's also involved. And at the time, they were excommunicated from Industrial Light and Magic. We all knew this story. I read about this story. These two guys were partying in George Lucas's office. And they got kicked out of the company. Now, some of the time frame for that is off. This documentary clears up the time frame. But these guys were banned from the ranch. They worked for Industrial Light and Magic. They could go there, but they couldn't go to the corporate offices. That's where George Lucas hung out. They essentially pissed all over George Lucas, and they got caught. Really cool stuff. I don't know how that's not a movie. This guy is movie quality. You watch 5 minutes of this documentary and you say, where is the Steve Williams movie? We need a movie about these guys at this time making. It's not just Jurassic Park. He gets all the credit for the CGI Jurassic Park, but it's his innovation for The Abyss, his collaboration with James Cameron, working on Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Terminator, the impact of The Abyss and Judgment Day gets overshadowed by Jurassic Park. It really does. But this documentary kind of cleans up this timeline perfectly. There's parts of this documentary where I want to be this guy. I want to have a motorcycle. I want to be a little rough. I want to bleed. I want to build things with my hands. Jurassic Punk sketches us, creates a picture unlike anyone that I've seen in the film industry. We expect the people stuck behind screens and even hunched over tables to be oddballs. We don't get that much in the Disney documentaries or the Pixar ones or the Imagineers one, that incredible series that's on Disney Plus, and we will cover that soon. We imagine these people as oddballs, and this guy, holy crap, he truly is a punk. Just by talking to him, you can say this guy an authority. they don't they don't mix. But here's a golden takeaway. This is the absolutely most significant thing in this documentary. Steve Williams, aka Spaz, says that his biggest trouble wasn't creating what he was creating. They were figuring everything out. They were literally doing the impossible, creating history in real time, meeting deadlines, but getting everything done. They were building on top of each other. They were one upping one another. They were leading the industry that they themselves were creating below their feet. He says, my biggest trouble wasn't the work, it was the executives, the managers, the people above him at Industrial Light and Magic. The red tape held him back. So we look at Jurassic Park, we see the T Rex, famous, right? I mean, there's no interpretation of the T Rex that will ever stick now. The Jurassic Park T Rex is the T Rex in the history of the world. Isn't that crazy? We look at that shot and we say, wow, the artistry. But there's a bigger pain behind it. There's a rebel who probably could have done more, probably could have went further, probably could have innovated quicker if it wasn't for the people around him. He needed to be let loose and managed the best way possible, which is a tough thing. That's a tough choice to make when you're in some of these positions. The executives didn't like him. The board didn't like him. The people working above him didn't like him. He worked in a place called the Pit, which was a sound studio that they just put a couple computers in. And he worked in the Pit and threw massive parties. He worked hard, he played hard. We like to associate the essence of this guy with more brainable positions like a director or an actor, right? But it's never the guy figuring things out. The guy that literally is turning the gears that's going against institutional knowledge and power. Guys like Dennis Muren, who during this time was trying to do, I think it was called stop motion go for Jurassic Park. They were trying to blur some of the frames, but they were trying to do Jurassic Park in stop motion animation because that's what they did for Empire Strikes Back 20 years before. They were sticking to that. This guy says, I'm a good animator. I can put myself inside of other objects, people, beings, creatures. So when I animate them, I know what to expect. I think about the muscle, the bladder movement. I put myself in the mind of what I'm animating. He's that type of guy. And on top of that, he's an engineer. So he essentially kicks Dennis Muren to the curb. That's going to piss people off. But his work was better. Look at the movie. Look at the movie. The work was better. And this documentary reminds us of it. The other unsung hero is his partner in crime, Mark Deppe. These two guys were involved. Mark Dippé directed the Spawn movie, 1997. A couple years later, they supposedly did the special effects of that movie in a weekend in some insane timeline crunch. And you watch it, and people love attacking Spawn for the special effects. Spawn was maybe a little bit of a broken production, not quite there, just not there. I think the plot, the script, the way it all comes together, I think the story elements are there. I would love to see this guy. He's a commercial director now. He's directed like hundreds of commercials, but I would like to see them do a special edition of the special effects of Spawn. Give us a new Malibolgia, redo some of that hell sequence, use AI, redo, add some new audio. Give us a couple extra minutes to hit that movie home. You can totally rethink the final act in Spawn and make that movie really like punch home. Make it emotional too, right? Give us a little bit of the Crow in that. But guys, as of right now, this might be my favorite film documentary. And it's a pleasure to bring it to you for the first episode of this series that hopefully never ends, because that's just the way we look at things. We look at things on completely evergreen, becoming a pedigree. Evergreen content to become a pedigree. And I do apologize. I'm still recovering from being as deathly sick during July as I was. I'm still getting mucus. I'm still coughing often. I just get these tickles in my throat, but I am marching towards overcoming all of it. So, thank you. But guys, Jurassic Park 2022 is clearly it's so much of my favorite documentary within the film industry at this point, because it's uncharacteristic as the subject. It's a drill down into like a true film buff drill down, and it's absolutely fascinating. I implore anyone to watch it. If you have Amazon Prime, it's available. I believe it's on all platforms digital. It's sometimes on Tubi, which would be free. It's sometimes on Plex, which would be free. And be mindful. I would suggest to watching this on repeat for a little bit. You have to get into the mind of Steve Williams. And when you do that, you can kind of take something away for yourself. And that's my phone ringing, guys. I have to go. I love you.
Okay, that's a wrap.